Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending this joint event co-organized by Climate Change Center and Korea Energy Agency here in Korea Pavilion. My name is Tae-young Kwan, Team Manager of Global Development Cooperation Team at Climate Change Center. We are a non-government organization based in Seoul. We are holding this event to discuss the Renewable Energy 100 Public-Private Partnership to achieve net zero by 2050. The RE100 Public-Private Partnership promotes the global RE100 initiative and Korean RE100, known also as the KRE100, by making the information about these initiatives more accessible. Furthermore, it gathers the opinions of stakeholders for consolidated policy recommendations and support the establishment RE100 implementation strategy. In this event, we will introduce the KRE100 system in achieving net zero by 2050 and the renewable energy expansion goal of Korea. In addition, we would like to examine the roles and efforts of different stakeholders, including the government, NGOs, and private sectors to implement KRE100. To officially start these events, let's welcome Dr. Young-Suk Yoo, Chairperson of Climate Change Center, for her welcome remark. Please give a big hand.
Your Excellency, Dr. Yoon Soon-jin, Chair the Carbon Neutrality Committee of Republic of Korea, distinguished participants, and all the participants, good afternoon. I'm Yoo Young-suk, Chairperson of the Climate Change Center. I'd like to welcome you all in Korea Pavilion here at COP26. It is nice to see you all here in Glasgow, despite the delays, challenges, and restrictions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm happy to see everyone's passion and dedication to help solve the climate crisis together. As you well know, the Paris Agreement was adopted in 2015. I was there in Paris to attend COP, and I remember the historic moment vividly. Everyone shouted with the joy. And that sets the global target to limit global temperature rise within 1.5 degrees Celsius. To achieve this goal and to transition to carbon neutrality by 2050, global carbon dioxide net emissions must be reduced by 45% by 2030 compared to the 2010 levels, according to the 1.5 special report of IPCC in 2018. Conforming to this, many countries have gradually stopped supporting and financing fossil fuel investments and infrastructures. Furthermore, IPCC report recently, the sixth assessment report, it is projected that the global surface temperature will exceed 1.5 degrees Celsius in 2040, and that shocked and frightened me because this warning is much faster than the previous report. We don't have much time. We have to do something in a hurry. As of April of this year, 131 countries have set or are considering carbon neutrality goals by the mid of the 21st century. The Korean government has also declared its 2050 carbon neutrality goals. It was also announced and confirmed to the global community, early part of the COP26, that the government plans to reduce greenhouse gases by 40% through the updated NDC. In addition to these targets, the proportion of renewable energy generation will be increased to 30.2% by 2030. We can no longer afford to delay the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. The use of renewable energy is a necessary action that we cannot overlook to achieve our climate goals. The social demand for private companies to strengthen their climate change actions is also increasing. The companies are demanding ESG management and RE100. The Korean government has not only engaged with the large-sized companies for the global RE100 initiative, but also promotes the participation of the local governments, public enterprises, and mid-sized companies. The KRE100 has also been established for the participation of SMEs. The KRE100 builds partnership with the small and mid-sized companies, public enterprise, and local government. We trust that the inclusion of many stakeholders in these initiatives will expand renewable energy uses and further improve Korea's climate actions to realize a carbon-neutral society in the future. And thank you very much for your attention. Let us work together to build a better future for the next generation. Thank you again, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Dr. Yu, for your welcoming speech. As Chairperson Young-Suk Yu said, renewable energy is an essential factor that cannot be overlooked in reducing greenhouse gases. We need each stakeholders to play their role to expand renewable energy use and reduce greenhouse gases. Let's also hear from Dr. Sun Jin-yoon, the co-chair of the Carbon Neutrality Committee of Republic of Korea, her congratulatory remark. Please welcome her with a warm round of applause.
Respected Dr. Young-Suk Yu, Chairperson of the Board, the Climate Change Center, and Mr. Sung-Hoon Kim, Director of Annual Policy Division, Korea Energy Agency. It is indeed a great honor and pleasure to meet all the experts who are here today. I am Sun Jin-yoon, co-chairperson of the 2050 Carbon Neutrality Commission of the Republic of Korea. RE100 private partnership to achieve net zero by 2050, hosted by the Climate Change Center and Korea Energy Agency, is a very meaningful event. It would be no exaggeration to mention that the 21st century is indeed the era of the climate crisis. Since industrialization, remarkable economic growth and technological progresses have granted material abundance and convenience to the humankind. But at the expense of it, environmental destruction and global warming resulting in severe climate change have occurred. The seriousness of climate crisis is widely shared across countries, regardless of business and civil society, and now call for climate actions is much higher than before. October in 2020, President Moon Jae-in announced 2050 carbon neutrality through an administrative speech at the National Assembly. And in the end of 2020, the Republic of Korean government declared publicly the 2050 carbon neutralization as a national goal. In October this year, about a year later, the 2050 carbon neutrality scenarios and enhanced 2030 NDC were confirmed as a way to achieve the 2050 carbon neutrality goal. Key element of the carbon neutrality is to transform a country's economy from using fossil fuel-centered energy system to energy efficiency improvement, energy conservation, and renewable energy-based one, as well as to decarbonize the fossil fuel-based industrial structure. Different from the past thought about the contradictory relationship between economic growth and environmental protection, now a number of businesses have claimed carbon neutrality efforts in which economic development and environmental protection are harmonized. The Ali 100 campaign is the most representative effort as a means of going toward to a carbon neutral society. In Korea, since SK Group registered to Ali 100 initiative for the first time in November last year, in total, 13 companies have signed up for the Ali 100 campaign. I'm very delighted to witness that there have been positive changes to realize carbon neutrality throughout the industry. Many corporates began to emphasize ESG management beyond only focusing on the financial aspect. This means that the process, how business produce their products, will have effect on the sustainability of human society as well as the global ecosystem. In countries, including Korea, with high proportion of manufacturing in industrial structure and high proportion of coal-based electricity, among other sources, the needs to participate in energy transformation like Ali 100 initiative is comparatively high. Thus, the allocate government has introduced the K-Ali 100 since 2021, and it allows a lot of consumers to selectively purchase goods produced with renewable energy. Korean companies with electricity consumption of less than 100 gigawatt hour can choose to participate in the K-Ali 100. Also, regulations on implementation measures such as the green premium system and certificate issuance procedures have been ready in order for businesses to better use the system. In other terms, when using renewable energy, it can be counted as greenhouse gas emission reductions credits. So increasing numbers of companies are expected to participate in the K-Ali 100 to achieve the carbon neutrality. To activate K-Ali 100 as an effective means of achieving the 2050 carbon neutrality, I hope today's event become a valuable opportunity to share various options from experts. Once again, congratulations on hosting Ali 100 private partnership to achieve net zero by 2050 today, and wish you a meaningful time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yoon, for sharing with us the importance of the small and medium-sized enterprise participation in K-Ali 100 as a key means to realize a carbon neutral society in South Korea. Before we begin, please allow me to have a seat here. So we will now move forward to the presentations. Let's hear first from Ms. Eun Seo, Assistant Manager of Renewable Energy 100 Management Team of the Korea Energy Agency, for the introduction of KRE 100 policy. Ms. Seo, the floor is yours.
Hello, my name is Eun Seo, in charge of KRE 100 policy in Korea Energy Agency. I'm delighted to be here presenting. So I'm going to cover 3 areas today. First of all, what is Global RE100? And secondly, I will look at the KRE100 led by Korean government with KEA. And I will see more specifically how progress is in KRE100. So first of all, what is RE100? RE100 is a global corporate campaign bringing together the world's most influential companies to committed to 100% renewable electricity, led by Climate Group in partnership with CDP. So there is a joining criteria that only companies with annual electricity consumptions are 100 gigawatt hour or greater can join RE100. And target is 60% by 2030 and 80% by 2040, and they finally achieved their goal at 2050. So nowadays, more than 300 companies have signed up to the RE100 initiative, including Google, Apple, and BMW. Also, 18 Korean companies have joined RE100, like SK Group or Hyundai Motors Group, like that. So these companies have continued to progress toward this goal. In 2017, 87 RE100 members together consumed 72 terawatt hour, and in 2020, 290 RE100 members consumed over 300 terawatt hour. This is a huge progress, and the number of members and demands of renewable electricity are still growing. Next, I will see the progress towards RE100 goals by country and sector. United States remains the region where RE100 members have the highest share of renewable power, and second is Japan, and third is United Kingdom, and fourth is Korea, followed by Australia or Switzerland, France, and so on. So RE100 members in the service sector like information technology and financial continue to lead on progress toward their 100% renewable electricity, and followed by manufacturing and consumer staples like foods and drinks. So RE100 members have adopted a wide variety of strategies to progress toward their goal. Members are using more impactful sourcing strategies as time goes on. So the breakdown of sourcing strategies in 2016 with unbundled energy attribute certificates and contract with supplier is account for 81% of total. And in 2020, similar to 4 years ago, EAC and contract with supplier is the main sourcing, but PPAs were once again on the increase, so representing 26% of renewable electricity consumed, with the amount sourced this way reaching almost double the amount reported for 2016. If we see these procurement options by country and region, in US, EAC is the main, but in Europe, green tariffs like contract with supplier is the main sourcing. And in China, PPA account for 33% of members of renewable electricity use. So this is a priority procurement options vary varied depending on the conditions of each country. So this is the overview of global RE100, and now I will explain about KRE100. As I mentioned earlier, there is a trend of spreading joining RE100 worldwide. Korean companies did not have any means to purchase renewable electricity, so the government, MOTI, the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy, have tried to introduce different kinds of renewable purchase scheme. So in 2018, we did policy research on RE100 and renewable energy purchase scheme like Green Premium or EAC. And 2019, we gathering the opinions from related organizations, experts, fields, and CDP. Also, we do the pilot project on the Green Premium. And 2020, we revised related regulations and developing RE tracking systems. Now we finally launching KRE100 this year. So this is overview the KRE100. The procedure is electricity consumer use renewable electricity and submit performance data like meter data or REC in KRE100 systems. So they, by issuing confirmations of RE use from KEA, they will use it for implementations of RE100 or their CSR strategies. So it is a little different with joining criteria with global RE100. Any kind of electricity consumers can join KRE100. So the companies, including public institutions or local governments, are enabled to join KRE100 regardless of joining global RE100. And target is the same with global RE100, so they have to commit to 100% renewable power by 2050. But we don't have any interim goals, so the corporate can make a voluntary of setting interim targets. And we are trying to make information disclosure, so we are open the list of the KR100 companies and what's their aim. And this is the notes for comparison between KRE100 and global RE100. This is a very similar but a little different. The main difference is the scope. So the global RE-back is the scope is the global operations, but in Korea, companies are operated in Korea is the aim of the KRE100. And also the difference is in Korea, companies can use this RE100 for offset of greenhouse gas emissions in Korea ETS, because we do ETS scope 2 is also subject to allocations of emissions permits. Is a little different in Europe because there is no any burden to scope 2 like buying electricity from out there. So it's a little different with the Europe. So, and I like to say the detail of its procurement options in KRE100. First one is green premium. Electricity consumer purchase renewable electricity by paying the green premium to Korean Electric Power Corporation, so it's called KEPCO, separately from their regular rate. And KEPCO sell the renewable energy, and KEPCO made a fund for green premium, and they transferred fund to Korean Energy Agency. So we try to do invest for it, helping to bring additional renewable energy power capacity to the grid. And there, the way to participate is they can participate the green premium bidding conducted by KEPCO twice a year, and corporates can purchasing renewable energy electricity. And the bidding result is in the presentation. So we KEPCO sales in first half of 2021, sales volume is 1.24 terawatt hour, and the average bid price is 11 won per kilowatt hour, is similar with $1 in US. And second is the purchase REC. REC is the renewable energy certificate, and electric consumers can buy REC through trading platform opened by KEA. So we open this platform twice a month, first and third Friday. So these corporates submit REC to KEA and receive the confirmations of reuse, so they can use the implementations of RE100 or greenhouse gas reductions, etc. And the second one is third-party PPA. Electric consumers purchase renewable electricity by signing a PPA with renewable generation business through the KEPCO's pre-credit. It's like an indirect PPA. So electricity consumers for industrial or general use can participate with this PPA, and renewable energy power plants should be exceeding 1 megawatt hour. Price and period are determined between the parties, and companies have to pay additional network usage fee to KEPCO according to the regulations on the use of electrical equipment for transmissions and distributions. So, lately, we are trying to revise the Electricity Business Act that requires renewable energy generation business and electricity consumers to directly sign electric contracts without passing through KEPCO. So PPA will be implemented directly through the revisions of sub-regulations. The introductions of PPA is expected to change the structure of Korean power market, because we never have the method to purchase the renewable energy. in before. So in the case of companies, it is necessary to review the characteristics, strengths and weakness, and practical benefits of the system between third-party PPA and direct PPA. And the last is project financing and on-site installations. Electricity consumers directly invest equity in the renewable energy generation and purchase electricity or certificates from contracts between the equity holders. So they submit purchased electricity or REC to the RE100 system. The KEA issues renewable energy purchase confirmations. And on-site installations, as you know, the corporate install their own renewable energy facility on their sites and directly use the generated power. So when they result like a metering data to KRE100 system, we confirm the use of the renewable energy. And now this is a very various procurement options. So, but these are standardized methods and also meet the global RE100 recognition criteria. So corporate can achieve their goal in KRE100 and global RE100 at the same time. And I will say the progress of KRE100 and plan. We by establishing various procurement options, so 18 companies have joined global RE100. 7 SK groups have signed up, so they are trying to achieving 100% renewable by 2050. And our Pacific have declared of achieving 100% renewable energy by 2030. So they tried a bid for the green premium in February. More than 30% of electricity demand at Osan sites will be replaced by renewable electricity. And also Energy Solution or Hyundai Motors or Korea Zinc, KB Financial Group like this have joined global RE100. Also, Hana Q-Cells improve corporate competitiveness by declaring participations in KRE100 and LG Chemistry participation in green premium to achieve 2050 carbon neutral growth. So Korean companies possible to respond to global trade barriers by strengthening their ESG management. Now this is the status of participations by options SIs in Korea. Actually, this is the early stage of the introductions of KRE100. So green premium is the main source in options. And by the size, major company are 40%, but the mid-size and small-size business are accounting for maybe 29%. So it is huge. And by sector, manufacturing is the main, and the public enterprise also participating in this KRE100. And members of KRE is listed in here, but this is not that all. So more companies are listed on KRE100 website, so you can check how many companies are participating here. And we are trying to encourage the participations in KRE100. So first one is KRE100 labeling. So if the proportions of renewable energy use is 20% or more, KRE100 labeling authority is guaranteed. So they can use for their products or their company's logo and so on. And second is greenhouse gas reduction. So renewable energy uses is recognized as the offset in greenhouse gas emissions of Korean emission trading systems. The third is green premium funds. We are planning to invest green premium in the renewable energy sector and support CSR activities of corporates by KEA. So like we are bringing additional renewable power capacity to the grid, like supporting for installation solar power for supplier of corporates joining RE100. Also, we are trying to support network UCSB to companies that have signed a third-party PPA contract. So this is the progress of KRE100 and plan. We have launched KRE100 at this year, and we did a bidding. We had the bid green premium, and we are trying to enforce direct PPA by revision Electricity Business Act and sub-regulations to diversify the procurement options in Korea. And also, I mentioned above, we are trying to make KRE100 policy incentives a lot, like the KRE100 labeling or green premium funds. Yeah, that's all, and thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Mr. for introducing the KRE100, which is the only state-managed RE100 system in the world. It is quite interesting that KRE100 system provide the opportunity to participating RE100 for SMEs and local governments. The next presentation will be delivered by Ms. So-hee Kim, the Secretary General of Climate Change Center, to discuss more about the RE100 public-private partnership. Ms. Kim, the floor is yours.
Thank you, moderator. It is a great pleasure to be part of this event at Korea Pavilion. Allow me to thank everyone who is with us today. Okay, my presentation is about the RE100 public-private partnership and how it can help achieve the net zero goal by 2050. And I also share our experience in working with South Korean public and private sector in this RE100 initiatives. First, I'll briefly introduce our center. The Climate Change Center is the first non-profit and non-government organization in South Korea dedicated to climate change response. Our slogan for 2022 is Big Challenge 2050 and Bigger Action 2022 to represent the bigger actions we should take to overcome the challenges we are facing. Under the core values of our center is professionalism, partnership, and participation. We work to build multilateral networks among the government, private sector, UN institutions, civil society, and the youth. We focus on three key areas. First, policy proposal, accelerating low-carbon economy. Second, sharing information to raise awareness in climate change and energy policies. And third, strengthening capacity of developing countries in climate response. Especially policy proposal activity run by the Policy Committee, which was launched in 2009. This committee is composed of over 100 experts from different fields covering industry, academia, and research institutes that specialize in climate and energy policies. To support the engagement of the Korea companies in the RE100, a public-private partnership was launched in 2020 with the Korea Energy Agency. Actually, our co-representative is in charge of the chair of the policy committee, and he is also president of the Korea Energy Agency. Policy committee members plays a critical role as an advisor. As you may know, the RE100 initiative that has started in 2014 with the Climate Group and the Carbon Disclosure Project is a collaboration between the world's most influential business. They use over 100 gigawatts a year to show their commitment to using 100% renewable electricity. Back in 2019, awareness and knowledge on the RE100 initiative in South Korea was very low. In the same year, we conduct a perception survey with over 300 domestic companies as respondents to see their awareness of RE100. Among them, 14% are classified as a large company, and while 86 are small and medium-sized company. And also in-depth interviews with the 20 companies have also been organized as part of this survey. The results of the survey show that only 15 of the respondents would like to join the RE100 and catalyze the renewable energy policy. However, these companies are concerned with the resulting higher energy cost, which is considered the most challenging barriers for this initiative. This reflects the need to enforce RE100 with strategies to ease the burden for renewable electricity, such as tax reduction, receiving carbon reduction credit through Korea ETS. To further raise the awareness on renewable energy and global RE100 initiatives, we organized roundtable meetings and an international forum with Sam Kimmins, the head of RE100 in Climate Group in 2019. This was attended by domestic company, media, and other multilateral stakeholders to learn about the RE100 and to share policy and experience about global RE100. And also in 2019, the Climate Change Center, along with 17 other domestic organizations together, established National Renewable Energy Day as an annual event to be celebrated every 23rd of October. The National Renewable Energy Day intends to inform and raise awareness of the citizens about the renewable energy and climate change, and they can engage in actions to respond to climate change. As also the Mr. explained in detail, the RE100 members increased by almost 100 compared to last year. From last year, it's not 12, it's 18. 18 Korean companies joined the RE100 initiatives. According to RE100 Annual Report 2020, 42% of the new members are from the Asia-Pacific region, including China, Singapore, Russia, and 7 other countries in Asia. For these countries, regulatory very complex and high costs are the most challenging barriers to achieve the total shift to 100% renewable electricity. And the global trend, the global RE members are requesting its partner to join its initiative to stimulate the renewable electricity in their supply chain, along with achieving a 100% transition to renewable energy. For example, Apple, which has been part of the RE100 since 2016, announced the plan to be 100% carbon neutral by 2030. As a result, SK Hynix, which is a domestic manufacturing company to export semiconductors, is now required to use renewable energy for export as part of this supply chain. This is an example of how this can create trading barriers that affects not only large domestic companies but also the small and medium enterprise consequently. Last week, President Moon announced that here in Glasgow that South Korea will raise its NDC targets to 40% emission reduction by 2030 and will raise the share of renewable energy generation to 30.2%. However, Korea still has many structural limitations. Unlike many other countries, power generation in Korea is still monopolized by the Korea Electric Power Corporation. And so, power generation suppliers are prohibited from power purchase agreement with the consumer directly. To overcome limitations of electricity market and encourage a Korea company to join RE100 initiative, Korean government introduced its version of RE100 known as KRE100 in January of this year. It has 33 members. This is seen as a way to increase the competitiveness of the domestic companies and to revitalize the renewable energy market. In addition, with the revision of the Renewable Energy Act, the mandatory RPS supply ratio has been expanded to 25% by 2026. The government will also encourage public institutions, companies, and large buildings to join in the RE100 initiative. The opening of the Renewable Energy Certificate trading platform for RE100 will also allow electricity consumers to buy RECs to support actions for greenhouse gas reduction. Recently, direct PPA was also implemented this October, improving support for the RE100 initiatives. With growing interest in KRE100, we, Climate Change Center, set up a RE100 public and private partnership with the government, experts, and other partners to accelerate energy transition. Our objective is to promote global and Korean RE100 and encourage the domestic renewable energy industry and market. We organize seminars and roundtable meetings to consolidate opinions and understand the challenges for each partner company. It also built networks between partner companies and facilitated the sharing of up-to-date information, policies, and strategies. So I'm publishing monthly letter, organizing roundtable meetings, and providing consulting programs are the three key engagements that we provide to our partners. We have diverse participants from small and medium-sized companies, public institutions, and local government. Let me share the detail of the activity. The monthly letter contains domestic and foreign policies, up-to-date news, and related contents to raise awareness about the RE100 and to respond to the ever-changing market in climate change. It also includes the current RE100 and KRE100 members, so companies will be able to take actions against the potential trade barriers in their supply chain. And RE100 roundtable meeting is sharing the information with our partner is important, but also policy proposal based on the partner's opinions is equal importance. So we do these roundtable meetings. So with collecting information, we discuss with the government and provide some recommendation on how to improve policies. In addition, many companies are challenged because of limited access to information. So during this discussion, we also provide networking opportunity to connect them with other players from similar and different industries. The last activity is we providing consulting program to support the KRE back. There are three key sections that we support in the first KRE100 consulting program. Foremost, it includes an educational program for those in charge of RE100 in their companies, including guidelines and several international and domestic cases. And second, supporting all administrative work, such as in the KRE100 system guide and application form. And third, the most important section of the consulting program, there are 4 steps in implementing the plan, identifying the characteristic of the sector and industry, and setting the goal according to its current situation, setting up scenario and portfolio as implementation strategies by setting the proportion and target year of renewable energy use in stage, and sharing of opinion and discussion of potential solutions through surveys. here are the 11 partner members of the KRE100 consulting program. There are 7 medium-sized companies, 2 small-sized companies, 1 public corporation, and 1 local government. As each of the clients has a different industry status, business management, space for renewable energy installation, so we provide customized scenario and portfolio to implement RE100. And more details are on the right columns. And detailed consulting will continue to be explained by next speaker. So Climate Change Center will continue to raise awareness and share knowledge on RE100 in Korea. Transition to clean and renewable energy is a key factor to move forward a low-carbon society. To do this, we are going to promote cross-sector collaboration along with the government policy through a concrete partnership with various stakeholders. Especially during the pandemic era, we need more concrete cooperation and solidarity to tackle the climate crisis, reach a new zero society, net zero society, and finally build a sustainable future. Thank you for paying for attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kim, for your insightful presentation. The Climate Change Center plays a central role in connecting stakeholders to expand renewable energy use, creating a level playing field for Korean and global companies, and promoting the KRE100 system for Korean companies and local governments in Korea. The last presenter is Dr. Young-jin Seo, Team Leader of Sustainable Development Management Institute. He will present some model cases of participating companies in KRE100 consulting program. Dr. Seo, floor is yours.
Okay, thank you for introduction, Chair, and thank you for coming and welcome this session. I'm Young-jin Seo in Sustainable Development Management Institute from South Korea. Today, I will talk about the model cases of participating companies in KRE100 consulting program. Firstly, I'll tell you about our consulting program. The consulting program was divided to the corporate workers and administrative and general guidance. And we also propose a participation plan, and the detail of our consulting program is as follows. So this is the overview of our consulting program. There are 11 organizations, including Korean companies, institutions, and local governments. The period for conducting program is 4 months, from August to November. We conducted corporate worker training program for understanding and participating in RE100. Making the guidelines relates to administrative procedure support. As a result, the strategy was established for Renewable Energy 100 participation with characterization and situation of company. Also, we made newsletter periodically and operated of the seminar. The 11 organizations were participated to our consulting programs, and the list of the company is in the table below. We support Renewable Energy 100 implementation and strategy establishment by providing training to Renewable Energy 100 managers of each company. For our participant company can implement of Renewable Energy 100, we made the guidelines and sent to the company. Another reason for producing the guidelines is to collect opinions from participants and provide better consulting. The configuration of the guideline first describes what RE100 is, and introductions to Global Renewable Energy 100 and KRE100 are described. Next, description of the means of implementation existing in the KRE100, those such as REC purchases or PPA, were recorded. Third, The implementation strategy was constructed according to the PDCA rule, and finally, Renewable Energy 100 case study was included. Next, a manual was created to educate the managers of the procedure for registering the performance of Renewable Energy 100. As can be seen in the figure, it is designed to be easily followed by the manager of the company. In order to achieve a more effective Renewable Energy 100 strategy, the PDCA rule was used. Currently, planning, which is a pre-implementation stage, was focused and power consumption prediction by year was conducted. Now I will show the procedure how we conducted our consulting program. First, the target company was subdivided into industrial type, effective areas, and sales accounts as follows. And 6 scenario cases were produced according to each type. The portfolio was created for the systems that should be carried out to achieve effective Renewable Energy 100 according to the case. To explain in more detail, a decision tree was created for the aforementioned scenario classification and portfolio construction for that scenario. For example, if the company is not subject to the emission trading system and target management system, and also there is an effective area, it is advantageous to achieve Renewable Energy 100 with green premium and self-generation. After the strategy for the company was derived, the amount of power used developed the renewable energy was predicted. This part is to help the companies establish the actual strategies and is divided into global standards, CDP recommendation standards, and gradually created to help companies choose after deriving strategies. The following table shows how to predict renewable energy power, for example, of one company. Renewable energy can be predicted by setting the company's power consumption and the Renewable Energy 100 achievement goal and the proportion of implementation of each system as follows. As you can see in the figure below, renewable energy generation can be graphically plotted and additional investment cost, greenhouse gas reduction effects, and emission revenue were calculated. Next, I will shortly explain the one-off contents of our guidelines. The first was the introduction part, and the overall description of Renewable Energy 100 was recorded. Next, the global Renewable Energy 100 trend was described, and finally, the KRE 100 trend was explained. Next, the method of implementing Renewable Energy 100 have been described in detail. Representatively, it consists of 5 methods, which is green premium, RS purchase, PPA, project financing, and one-site installation. We'll load in details each explanation and implementation plan for each system. In the part 3, as described above, provided guidance for consulting target companies to make plans to achieve Renewable Energy 100. We introduced the procedure according to PDCA technique for cost-effective and efficient Renewable Energy 100 introduction and management. And in Plan P section, we established a renewable energy introduction plan and strategy based on short-term, mid, and long-term company electricity usage forecast. Next, the part of Do is about how to implement the establishment plan, and in this section, each implementation method is mainly described. In addition, the deficiency was checked through comparison with the achievement rate in implementation, and the target value was recommended to be revised to improve this. This we wrote in the check and the adjust section. And finally, examples of global renewable energy 100 achieving companies were included, and examples of how renewable energy 100 is being carried out in Korea were included. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you for introducing the implementation stage strategy of the consulting case of KRE 100 involving SMEs, local governments, and public institutions. We look forward to discovering more leading cases and lessons learned from this program in the future. Now, we will have a panel discussion session. So I would like to start with asking one question to Ms. Seo from Korea Energy Agency. It is very impressive that Korean government has designed and established KRE 100 system following the global trend of RE 100. As far as I know, in the past 2 years, policies and systems to enhance the participation of companies in the RE 100 have been introduced. I'd like to ask the KEA's future plan to establish the further policies and systems to accelerate the KRE 100 initiative.
Okay. So I mentioned earlier at presentations, we are trying to make policy incentive tips for the Korean company. So we support the installations of renewable facility about 70% of total of their cost. And now also we try to support the grid usage fee because it's very expensive for the companies. So we try to support the 100% of the usage fee to using the grids of KEPCO. And also we are trying to do more KRE 100 consulting program next year because it is very important to have their own main or their departments in the mid-size or the small business because they do not have any people to do the RE100 work. So I think the consulting program is very important for Korean companies to join the RE100. Thank you.
So, as you already mentioned, the KRE 100 is newly started in this year, and then it still is in initial stage. But as KEAs provide so much effort to develop and implement this project, this system, so I hope that the kind of policy support from KEA will enhance the more accelerate for the KRE 100 systems. And now I would like to move to the next speakers. The Secretary General Seo Kim from Climate Change Center. As a result of RE 100 public-private partnership, Climate Change Center raised the awareness of Korean companies on the global RE 100 and KRE 100. Also, KEA and CCC launched the consulting program with the SDMI to provide technical support to engage with the SMEs and local governments in the KRE 100 system. Considering the trend of global RE 100, what is the most needed support to be provided to them?
It will similar with Ms. Seo's answer, but I will explain the more. You know that the global large and influential business sends a powerful signal to markets and government about the demand for renewable electricity. Korean government and companies are not exception. So as I mentioned, current global RE100 initiatives is requiring member country to manage their supply chains, which are also committed to 100% renewable electricity. Korean large companies are just starting to join RE100 initiative, only 18 member company. So it is very challenging for their supply chains to handle with RE100 initiative, mainly because of lack of a budget, lack of a manpower, lack of information, etc. So therefore, providing consulting program is the most important and powerful supporting measure, I believe. We are just conducted only 10 company and one local government as a pilot project. So I believe a government should allocate more budget for supporting consulting program to SMEs. At the same time, large companies shall also should provide enough budget and human resources with their supply chains. It is a necessary step to settle down KRE 100 initiative, consequently contribute net zero 2050 as a major measures. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Secretary General Kim. And the last, I would like to ask one question to Dr. Youngjin Seo from SDMI. From a carbon disclosure project point of view, the environment of Korea makes it difficult to use renewable energy. So do the companies who participate in this consulting program experience problem related to this concern? And what are some solutions suggested during the consultation?
Yeah, it's very good point. According to the carbon neutral scenario, as you know that, announced by the Korean government at the COP, the renewable energy generation is unlikely to be insufficient. But according to the current power system situation, it is difficult for companies to supply renewable energy. And there are many difficulties at the time of the consulting, and in particular, the problem was that it cost a lot of money to build the renewable energy facilities. In addition, the majority of companies were not familiar with the Renewable Energy 100 system, so we focused on the explanation, and finally we solved the needs of the participation companies. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you again to all the speakers and participants of this event. And I hope you found this event insightful and valuable. We look forward to welcoming you to other events in the near future. The Climate Change Center and Korea Energy Agency will continue to strive to reduce greenhouse gases and accelerate renewable energy in Korea. So we look forward to more companies and local governments participating in this action. Through this, it would be possible to achieve carbon neutrality and the NDC goal of Korea. Thank you again and thank you for your time. 네, 감사합니다.